No prohibiting allowed.
Thanks for that serious name after what it actually is. I'm driving home at the moment, and I'm going back to what I was doing before. What I was doing before was, well, just doing renovations. It's something that no one likes to do because it can be very costly. It's obviously very time-consuming, it's hard, it's tedious, it's long. Many times when you start doing something, it's easy to break things, to remove things, to take things out, and then you're left with nothing but a blank space where now you've got to replace it, now you've got to fix it, now what's left is what you've left yourself with. And I guess it's a bit of a message in and of itself that renovations aren't always limited to just the home, but it can also be in a person's life, because there are times where there are things that need to be fixed. Once in a while there may be something that you need to replace. Take something that you had that wasn't working and replace it with something that is working, something that does work, something that can work, something that improves, that makes things easier for you, things better for those around you. And a lot of thought goes into renovating, a lot of planning, and then oftentimes when you get to the task, things don't fit the way they should, things don't work out the way they should. Maybe the coat of paint doesn't quite fit the shade, maybe you don't have enough of something, maybe while you're fixing faucets and doing plumbing and everything is supposed to fit just right and it's off by just a small fraction, and now you've removed an appliance that was working before, but you took something that worked and now you've got something that doesn't work, something that is of no use right now, and then you've got to go back and put that appliance back in, that part, that piece, place it back in because it works. A lot of times, well, time. It takes a lot more time. Things don't go according to plan, especially with renovation. But that's why we put it off, because we know it's a hard task to do. It's got to be done. That wall isn't going to patch itself. That mold isn't going to clear itself. That fixture is going to stay broken. That light, that blue, needs to be replaced at some point. The floor needs to be laid down, gravel, that last minute final touch finish to make things look spectacular. It's going to take more time and effort than you thought, but in the end it's worth it. Why? Because eventually, no matter how long it took, no matter what effort you get, it's going to be costly. It's going to be costly to your wallet. It's going to be costly to your life, because it takes from you. But what does it give you in return? A bigger, nicer kitchen. A new shade of paint to reflect an even better household you've improved upon. Maybe a set of cupboards that now you can put something in, that you can place all those items and get rid of that clutter, get rid of that mess that was there before. Makes it look more homely, makes it look better, makes things better, improves. It makes you feel good because you know that you did it, you accomplished it, you finished it. And the renovations that people do on a home, the ideology, everything, it can also be applied to people in life as well. What renovations do you need to do in your life? What do you need to improve upon it, to make things better? What do you need to replace? What do you need to fix? What do you need to patch up? What do you need to do to make things better? What are you putting off that you should be doing now? You hold off, you put it off, you put it off, and you put it off. It gets harder to fix because maybe something's rotting away, maybe something's breaking. The longer that you leave a broken relationship with a loved one, if there's something that happened, something that occurred, and you know that there's a way that you can patch it up, and there's a way you can fix it, that there's something that can be done that can make it as it was before or improve upon it, because now you've gone to the effort to go and do what needed to be done. The longer you put it off, the harder it is to mend fences, the harder it is to fix what's broken. And oftentimes, to improve upon yourself, self-renovation. What do you need to do to fix your life? If things aren't the way they were supposed to be, if things are harder than they were when you planned it out, of course. But when you complete the renovation, and the renovation's complete in your life, just as it is at home, is it not fair to say that after all that hard work, sticking it out and seeing it through to the end, that now it's done, it's fixed, things are better now, things are improved? Or if something wasn't working, something was broken, replace it with something that works. Replace it with something that you're better off with. Now, you could obviously take that and spin it into a negative, take someone and, replace them with someone else if your life is, but if you use it practically and apply it logically and rationally, just think about it. If there's someone in your life who is causing you harm, and if there's not a way to fix it, then replace, remove, do what needs to be done to make your life better. Because otherwise, just like that incomplete task, that half-painted wall, that cracking seam, that blown light bulb, everything that you were going to replace, that you were going to fix, it's still going to be there. And it's only going to get worse. It's going to bring you down. You're just going to look at it and think, man, this sucks. You start thinking negatively. You start maybe even acting negatively. You take it out on other people. And maybe you'll even break things in real life and have to do even further renovation in real life if you don't renovate your life. If you don't renovate what's in your life. If you don't fix what needs to be fixed. You could be sitting on something and it falls beneath you. But that's okay. You know why? Because what are you going to do? You're obviously going to stand back up and replace what you were sitting on. You know, a broken chair, people automatically, the instinct is get up and do something about it. People don't just collapse in the chair and think, well, this sucks. Why the hell is it broken? Why the hell is this thing broken? Why does it always break? Why did it have to happen? And just sit there and wallow. And while other people walk past and say, hey, all you got to do is get up. You know, things are bad. Yes, it sucks, but you got to get up. And you just sit there and think, well, I've fallen down. I've hurt myself. Everything's come beneath me. Why can't it be fixed? Why can't it all just stay the way it was? This absolutely sucks. Just sit there and stay in the wreck that you were in. That person is already standing up, and they're going to walk by and they're going to leave you there. Because if you're just going to sit there and wallow and complain and do absolutely nothing, people are on their own mission in life, and they will pass you by. They will, the best of them, will lend you a helping hand and say, here, let me help you up. They may even dust you off and check to see if anything else is wrong. They'll help you to fix or replace whatever broke. But if you do nothing, if you hold off on it and just let it be broken, it stays that way. Nothing gets fixed unless you fix it. I guess that's pretty much what's on my mind for the moment. To be doing a lot of renovations today. Still got a lot to go. As soon as I get home, that's what I'm going to be doing. More renovations. As much as I can till I get all the tasks that I wanted to get done. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to replace it. I'm going to do what it takes to get what I need to get done and to get where I need to go. And people in life, if you need to renovate, then perhaps you should be doing it as soon as possible. Don't hold it off. Don't put it off. Don't wait. Nothing will get better. Anyway, that's my thought. So, I was on my way to get something to eat for dinner. This is going to be a good one, right? Foods, glorious foods. But what are the choices? What are the options? I mean, around where you are, I mean, if you have nothing in the fridge, if you've got nothing in any pantries, or freezers, cabinets, anything, you got to go out, you got to get something to eat. Are the shops open? Do you want to go get something and prepare it yourself? Do you even have the time or effort and even could be bothered? And if you do go through one of the fast food outlets or any of the others, where do you go? What are you doing? What's the choice? Make up your mind. You're hungry, right? Not always an easy thing to do, because there are so many options, and then sometimes one option seems quite clear, but then there are other times where one option is better than the other. You kind of overthink and you overanalyze, and bleh, you're not eating a damn thing. You're not getting any food. You're not doing anything. You're not making your mind up on where you're going. And yeah, it's frustrating, right? Especially when you're dealing with someone who is not making their mind up on what they want to eat. Decision making. But when you're hungry, when you're in that mood, get a little more primitive, get a little more edgy, get a little more agitated. Just make up your mind. Where are we going to eat? What are we eating? Come on! I'm hungry. Make your decision. We get to that point sometimes in our lives, don't we? Where we get hungry for something. We can't exactly make our minds up on just exactly what the hell we want to do. There are times where, you know, you spend too much time making a decision. The options are there in front of you. What are you going to do right now? What are you going to do today? What do you plan to do? You just absolutely can't make up your mind, but everything is there in front of you. You go one place, none of them are necessarily the wrong answer. You go one place, you do one thing, and you made a decision, you made a commitment, you've done something. But if you're sitting there and you're trying to make your mind up, eventually, people just give up and say, oh, forget it, I'll get something myself, or forget it, I'll do something without you then. And so on and so forth, because when you're hungry for something, you want it now, you want to get it now. And that should be the mentality when you're in that hunger state, when you are hungry for something, when you're at that point where you see something and you feel that the time is right, that you're hungry now, you need something now, then go get it. Whatever it is you got to do, do it. Whatever you need to do, however you need to get there, just do it. Don't wait. You're still going to be hungry. Wait too long, you'll be starving. It's just going to get even worse. The same in life. You wait, nothing's going to change again. Nothing's going to happen. You're still going to be hungry for what that thing is. What is it? You're hungry for success. Chase it. You're hungry to get something in your life that you need, that you really want something. That car, that house, maybe just that game console. Because maybe you've seen some of our videos and you want to play some of the game, maybe just for some leisure time. Maybe you're hungry for some time off because it's been so long since you've had. Maybe that's what you're hungry for. Or maybe it's something more focused, more career driven. Maybe a promotion, more money, maybe a better job. Hell, maybe for the one person in your life, you could say, oh, well, I'm hungry for her. It's like, well, what do you hunger for? What do you need to consume for your life to be replenished? I guess that's the thing to take from this. And how do you get it? It's simple. You just go for it. Because when you're hungry, you consume, you do what you got to do to get fed. Because otherwise, people won't be fed. They'll be fed up. You'll still be in the same position. Nothing changes. Nothing gets better. In fact, now it's worse. Now it's worse because you're out of energy. Your mind's a blank. Hell, you don't even know what to do anymore. Because now the options are being taken away from you. Maybe you wait a little too long. The shops are now closed. Wait a little longer. Maybe a certain food chain down the road, which happens quite a bit in a couple that are around my area, that run out of food. A chicken place that runs out of chicken all the time. How does that happen? It does happen. Sometimes you run out. Sometimes you'll run out of. Sometimes if you wait too long, we are hunger for something and it's too late because now everyone else has taken. Now it's someone else's. That one thing that you wanted, you can't have now. But maybe there's a chance tomorrow. And sure, there's always tomorrow. And the day after that. But if you're hungry now, and if you're hungry for one thing that you truly want now, then go get it. Do it. Make your mind up. You go to that place. You do what you need to do to get there. That's it.
And now time for yet another Facebook feed filler, or whatever you want to call it. It is time for me to go through my saved links and things that have come through my feed. And this one is definitely interesting. It's still somewhat recent. In October, it was reported Jackie Chan says Rush Hour 4 will go ahead if Chris Tucker is involved. Now, I mean, first and foremost, I mean, it's been a very good movie series, but Jackie Chan hasn't said that it was his favorite, I don't believe, but I do believe he enjoyed himself, and he's been in a lot of things. And Chris Tucker, he hasn't really been prominent in the movie scene really since Rush Hour, and the last one being Rush Hour 3. I mean, he's been in a couple other things, but not prominently featured, and, you know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just not paying attention, but still. Basically, it's stated for the last 7 years we've been turning down the script. Yesterday we just agreed, he said. The script's probably at the end of this month, so it's October, so maybe not looking too favourably at the moment. So at the end of the month, we'll have a second draft, and next year we'll probably start, if Chris Tucker agrees. But keeping in mind Chan, Tucker, and the film's writer Jeff Nathanson, director Brett Ratner, and producer Arthur Sarkisian have been teasing us for years. So, because it was 6 years after Rush Hour 2 that they did Rush Hour 3, and wait another 6 years, Jackie's going to be, you know, way too tired to do this stuff. So Chris is on board. He said he would love to do it, as the director says, but we have to make sure it stands on its own, and it hinges on how successful Rush Hour 3 is for the studio to say we want to make another one. Yes, so going into the third installment, there's been stated a little bit of a flop, bringing in nearly 100 million less than Rush Hour 2, as well as scoring 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. But that hasn't stopped people from pushing forward for another movie. And it's rather interesting, you know. And 2009, Ratner had hinted that Danny DeVito and Jet Li were being considered for additional roles for the fourth movie, but nothing had been okayed yet. 2015, Tucker met with Chan, reportedly talking about the project, and was stated in an interview, "We're trying to get it going. I think we might be able to get one going. I love working with Jackie, and I think we could really do that one." That's what Chris Tucker has basically stated in that interview. And so the latest at this stage says that they're putting a draft script through. I mean, it's not to say that it's been picked up and even put in production and that it would even go ahead. I mean, they sort of did that. You know, they're doing that series right now, whether that's still going or not, the Rush Hour TV series, which has almost rebooted it, you know, and retold the sequence of events from the first movie. I watched it for a short while, but I couldn't find myself really getting into it, you know, because, I mean, I've got nothing against the actors or anything in it, because there's some tremendous actors and it's a good story. But because I've seen the movie series, and because I can't, you know, it's hard for me to separate and say, okay, now this is, you know, I liken it to Spider-Man. You know, there's 3 different incarnations of Spider-Man, and basically it's like, you know, the original Spider-Man series, and then the Amazing Spider-Man series with Andrew Garfield, the first one being with Tobey Maguire, and then this new one, you know, which I'm not saying that they're not good in their own way, but it's like, well, this is the story. No, this is the story. No, this is the story. It's like, I consider the canon, the official story, to be the movie series, and then when people basically say, nah, and reboot and basically retell the story, it takes away from it. For me, it makes it less enjoyable, because I'm sort of expecting it to be the same as it was, and I'm comparing it, to the other movie or the other series or the other version, even the latest X-Men, where even though it was separate and it was different reality and basically almost redoing the storyline, but then it kind of went in on itself to try and tie itself back into the original story, even though it's supposed to be completely different. Just, yeah, it gets confusing and it takes away the enjoyment. At least that's my perspective of things. But I do hope that, if they can get something together and get it going, but it might be a little too late to do another Rush Hour movie series, especially given how long it's been, including Terminator. That's probably the best example that I could come up with, because the Terminator, the first one, it didn't leave itself open, but it didn't close itself off either. And the second Terminator, because it kind of linked off that one, and I personally believe second Terminator was even better, but according to Rotten Tomatoes and all critics and everything, 100% for the first Terminator, and I think the second Terminator got something in the high 90 percentile of approval rating, so I guess that just goes to show right there. But still, the third Terminator went in to ignore some facts and sort of change the story a little. The fourth one went with that story, but then tried to start its own. And then the fifth one, the most recent Terminator, there was the Terminator series they tried to do, which kind of went in on its own, went into business for itself as well, and it was respectable for what it was, and it sort of, you had to ignore a couple of things, but then it tried tying itself back in and explain the errors of continuity and everything. But then the fifth one, the most recent Terminator, it just tried, I don't know what they were doing, and it wasn't a good movie, unfortunately. I mean, sorry to have to just say that, but it should have been so much better than it was, and it just wasn't. That's just the unfortunate thing about it. But I guess to each their own, and they all tried, and I went and saw it, and there were things that I did like about it, but there was still a lot of things that, if I was new going in, then it'd be easy because I don't know any of the history that's been made so far. There's no story going in for me. That's just what it is. But then, if I then go in having been a fan of the series, watching all the other movies and everything, and then go in and this is now what it is, but I guess it catches my drift. And yeah, so here's another interesting link before I prattle on about movies any further. Probably have that as a topic of podcast at some later stage. Dog owner fined after his dog licked a baby on an off-leash Melbourne beach. Okay, so Neil McMahon, who wrote about his experience for Fairfax, claims he was at an off-leash area with his 7-month-old English Staffordshire Terrier, Maudie, when his puppy licked a baby's chest which had been lying on a blanket. The mother then contacted police to allege the dog has attacked my baby. Wrote that the police arrived at the beach and questioned him and his child's mother. McMahon was then fined $238 for failing to maintain effective control of his animal. Although nothing serious happened, I've got to play devil's advocate here. And I got to say, in this instance, because there are a lot of people that don't maintain dog control, dog restriction, everything, maybe going as far as calling the police for this matter was a bit extreme. But I do get completely the whole reinforcement, because it could have gone a different way, but then at the same time, you could go at the dog owner and say, didn't maintain control of your dog, should have been on a leash, even though it was off leash, not effective control, and the fine is something that is more than appropriate. I'm sorry, but it just is. But on the other hand, say, well, I wouldn't, there's certain situations where it's like, if I had a child that young, I probably would never put him in any manner which they would be in that sort of predicament. And, things could have gone so much worse. And I think as well that the overreaction from the mother may have been very well caused to try and shift the blame, but unfortunately, in that instance as well, got to play the advocate in the other hand, say, well, if your child wasn't put in a precarious position like that, then certainly would not have been in any danger, or potential danger for that matter, and count yourself lucky that in this instance it was not, a situation where the dog tried to attack the young infants. But nevertheless, so let's see here. Do I even read this? Oh well, I've already pulled it up. A woman was arrested, this is in September, but it's found its way through my feed nevertheless. 26-year-old mother from Brussels, Belgium, has been arrested after having been charged for burning her 2-year-old daughter in her garage, believing that the two of them would be reunited in heaven. So basically, this is a situation where authorities found her cooking her dead daughter over grill. So neighbours noticed smoke coming from the garage, and apparently it was burned alive. This is unbelievable. Remains unclear if the girl died before she was burned or due to her burns. Autopsy hasn't been performed as of this report, but officials have stated that the reason she killed her daughter, so we both had to burn alive, only this way would we enter heaven together. Police then took the mother to a hospital on account of severe carbon monoxide poisoning. The girl was pronounced dead at the scene. And according to the reports, the mother was depressed, blah blah blah, insane, yada yada, don't even care, put her in a cell and throw away the key. That's what I gotta say. That's the fact that anyone could do that, and then it doesn't even matter if it's like, okay, yeah, she had depression, she was mentally, that whole mental excuse for doing that. It's like, waive that, because when you do something like that and you want to put it on some sort of, she's mentally ill, it's like all the shootings and everything. It's because he has a mental illness and this. It's like, no. That doesn't even make sense, because people still have enough common sense in their brains, and they still get to a point in their life where they still are at a point where they can make logical decisions for one reason or another before they decide to take a course of action. And to then fall back on that is just inexcusable. And truly, I hope that she's sentenced to life in prison, because a person like that burns her 2-year-old daughter alive. No empathy, no compassion, no, just absolutely no care for anyone else. I wouldn't want this person ever walking the streets again, and I hope that she never gets to go out and, have the privilege of, having a family, because the fact that she'd do that to her own daughter, not a chance. Not one chance that I would even give her anything. Okay, so What else? This one, I don't even think I need to read the article because the title just goes without saying. Woman who married herself tells the morning show called This Morning about having an affair. Okay, first of all, who was the nutcase that allowed her to marry herself? And the fact that there are people that are not allowed to marry gay and lesbian couples, and now you can even marry yourself? Okay, that's just nuts. You're nuts. And you're worried about having an affair with somebody else? You know, in this instance, maybe you should. Nutbag. Things that come through my feed. Okay, this one here. Man arrested after selling farts in jars without a vending license. Okay, I don't think I need to question this because that goes without saying, but it's saved, it's here, it's in there, and I gotta go ahead with it, don't I? Yes, I do. So, why don't we just have a look? In Tennessee, of course, USA, a man was captured for offering his own farts in containers without having a distributing permit. The man was gotten by the experts, which inquired as to whether he had authorization, and the man couldn't reply. So, he was offering flatulence from various nourishments, with various ages, with around 150 containers. Oh, right, so 30% fart, 70% air. And the man didn't have the authorization, used around 90 jugs a day. So, many individuals thinking about making this as a profession? Okay, I think that, first of all, the first thing I wouldn't be asking is, do you have a permit to sell them? I'd just be confiscating them, saying, you know what, just no. Just no. As in, just no. Just no. God, yeah, it just goes without saying, don't you reckon? But I think it's at this point where, once again, I have to say, that's enough internet for the day. That's enough Facebook. And there's something like that definitely says that I gotta get off Facebook right now and end this Facebook feed. I have to stop talking. Glad you listened. Hope you can take something from this. And once again, you know, like if you like it. If you don't like it, sure. You don't have to like it. You know, the positive and the negative. Can't have one without the other. You know, and share with a friend. Maybe someone will take something from it. And maybe I'll reach that one person. If that one person, maybe just only one person, then that's good. Maybe I'm the only one that needed to be reached. Maybe I'm just saying it to myself. That's also good. But, by all means, glad you listened, and share with a friend, and subscribe if you want to hear more. Next week, obviously. Anyway, I'm prattling along now, so I'm going to step out of the car right now. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. I want to eat. So once again, Bill said, what are you hungry for? Have you had what you wanted to have? Have you made a decision? What do you want? What do you want? Make a decision. What do you want? Go get it. Go get it. Bring it with you. Take it. Do it now. Good. End of the video. Go on. See ya.